Welcome everybody, Film Fan 108 here to my Blu-ray pickups video for January of 2019. And as you can see, I have a small but enjoyable stack to talk to you guys about today. So let's get into it, shall we, with the first title that I picked up for 2019, and that is none other than Elvira, Mistress of the Dark. And with this really great artwork, a slipcover from Arrow Video, I really love that artwork a lot, especially Elvira in the front there with her busty assets. Yes, really a great artwork, guys. And on the inside here, you have the theatrical art as well, which I've always loved. Really, really great artwork as well here. Very nice. And it's a title I was definitely looking forward to. Now, I ordered it in November. It didn't ship until December, and I didn't get it until January. The reason being, this is actually a UK title, and I ordered it through Amazon UK. And it usually gets to my doorstep about probably a month after it ships. But to be perfectly honest with you guys, I gotta give big props to Amazon UK because they packaged it really, really well. Once it got to my doorstep, it was undamaged. There was no damage whatsoever. It was in pristine quality. And I gotta give Amazon UK a lot of credit because when they ship it, they package it really, really well. Because they know that in the shipping process, it's gonna get dinged up and banged up. But honestly, man, they did a great job. It came undamaged, perfect quality. Big props to Amazon UK. And it's a title I was really looking forward to because, you know, growing up, I missed out on the horror host craze and the big boom that was happening. And there was so many of them that came out of the woodwork and so many shows. And it was probably a really great time to be alive, you know, being a horror fan with all those horror hosts and all that stuff. I missed out on it. By the time I really became interested in horror films, my sort of early teens, mid-teens, a lot of the craze and the boom really sort of died down at that point. A lot of people stopped doing it. Shows got canceled. But the one constant that remained throughout the years and the now decades is Elvira. Elvira was the one that remained. And I think the reason why is, first of all, I think a lot of people gravitated towards her personality, to the sort of snarky, devil-may-care attitude that she had. I think a lot of people liked the way she talked about movies and sort of didn't take herself too seriously. And honestly, big props to Cassandra Peterson, who has kept the character alive throughout the years, doing a lot of events and keeping the character around and doing different kinds of projects. So she's definitely been a big thing in keeping this character around and alive, so big props to her as well. And when all of the other horror hosts have went the way of the dinosaur, she has stuck around. So it's really nice to have her around even today. But, you know, I watched this movie probably in my teens, and I honestly forgot a lot about it. I did not remember it. So watching this now was completely new to me, almost like a brand new experience. The movie's basically about Elvira herself, and she's trying to get out of the horror host gig. She's trying to do this thing in Las Vegas, this sort of gig that she has. And she needs money and basically finds out that her aunt has passed away and that she is going to inherit stuff from her aunt. She thinks it's a lot of money. She goes to this sort of small, repressed, conservative town, finds out that she does not get the money. In fact, she gets this house and a couple books and items. She's trying to sell the house. In the meantime, she is trying to have fun with the locals and get them out of their really repressed state, dealing with her uncle, who is this evil sorcerer, and all kinds of weird and craziness stuff ensue, guys. It's a very weird and wacky movie, but it's a very fun movie, and it's played in a very fun, jokey way. It's not trying to take itself seriously at all. The actors are having a really fun time here. It just feels that way. Everyone's having a great time playing their characters. Elvira herself, Cassandra Peterson, is having a really fun time here, making fun of herself, whether it's her big boobs or the way she looks. It's very 80s with the colors and the practical effects and everything. It's it's just a very well done movie. It's a horror comedy, but it's much more of a comedy than it is horror. It's got horror aspects to it, but it's just definitely playing it for the laughs and not trying to take itself too seriously. It's cheesy, it has a B movie 80s quality to it, but it's just really goddamn fun, guys. I really enjoy this movie a lot. And yeah, it's if you're an Elvira fan, it's definitely a must watch. And Arrow did a great job with this. They did a great job with this. It looks fantastic. The audio is great here. And as far as the features, you get 3 audio commentaries here. You get one with the director. You get one who is a moderator of Elvira, Mistress of the Dark.com. Talks about a lot of anecdotes about Elvira and about the movie and, you know, talking about, you know, being a fan and everything. Very cool audio commentary here. You also end up getting an old school commentary with Cassandra Peterson and some of the actors talking about the movie and the difficulties of making it and the reception of the film, all of that jazz. You also get here a feature-length making of a documentary, and man, this is a jam-packed documentary, guys. It talks about, you know, the making of the movie. It talks to the director, the special effects, the production designer, talks to the actors, Cassandra Peterson, and it delves into everything from, again, certain scenes that were more difficult than others, how they got this off of the ground, you know, the reception of the film many years later. Very interesting, extensive documentary. Well worth checking that one out, guys. You also get a small featurette with talking about the practical effects, the weird little monsters that were in the movie, other effects that they did for it. Very, very cool featurette as well here. You also get theatrical trailers, image gallery, TV spots, and much more. Very fantastic release by Arrow Video here. I really enjoy this release a lot. Now, just so you guys know, again, this is a Region 2 release, so if you are in the United States and do not have a region-free player, then you cannot play this. But it's 2019, guys. If you do not have a region-free player, I suggest you get on it big time. It is definitely worth it. This is a great release. If you're a fan of Elvira, definitely do it. And I've heard rumors that she's going to be doing horror hosting stuff on Netflix. I've heard possibilities of another movie in the works. I would be up for it. I love the character of Elvira. Cassandra Peterson does a great job here. Well worth your time to check this out. Elvira, Mistress of the Dark. Then the next title I picked up is a Code Red release, a limited edition Code Red release at that, a cannibal film as well, and that is Jungle Holocaust right here, guys, with the limited edition slipcover with the cannibal on the front there eating flesh and attacking somebody. Very, very cool slipcover there as well. And on the inside here, you get the theatrical artwork with a different name for the film, The Last Survivor, right here. Really cool artwork. I really like that a lot here. And it actually does go by a few names: Jungle Holocaust, Last Survivor, a couple other titles as well. No matter the name, it is the same movie. And as you guys have seen in the Blu-ray pickup videos, I love my cannibal movies. I just love them. What can I say? I really do enjoy them, and I think the reason why I enjoy them is because of the idea of survival. Surviving against crazy odds and ridiculous odds, and just dealing with the elements, and I just like that aspect of cannibal movies. And this is an interesting one for a couple reasons. One, that this film was directed by Ruggero Deodato. Now, he, of course, directed the much more famous Cannibal Holocaust. I believe this was his first effort at directing a cannibal film, as well as this is Mimi Leigh's, I believe, first cannibal film as well. She, of course, ended up being in a few other cannibal movies, including Eaten Alive as well. This movie is basically about 2 Americans who crash land on a remote island in New Guinea, and they have to try to fix their plane, and in the meantime they are being stalked and hunted by cannibals, and they're trying to survive and trying to stay alive. Very fascinating and interesting cannibal movie. I really enjoyed it. I thought the acting was really well done here. Nobody's playing it for cheap. Nobody's playing it for laughs. It feels very real. I love the lush and beautiful locations here. I think the gore and the blood are very cool as well. You don't get a lot of it, but what you get is very, very good as well. And of course, just so you guys know, there is animal violence in here as well. You know, it was just that time when so many cannibal films were going for a lot of realism, and they were honestly killing animals for real. It is in this film. So if that is something you guys cannot stomach, then honestly, cannibal films are really not for you guys. But it is in there as well. But I really just like the survival aspects to it. I like the people playing the cannibals. I like the the actors who are playing Americans, who are doing a great job here as well. I like the idea of trying to survive against these incredible odds, and just the horror aspects of it. I really love the horror of the cannibal film. The idea of dealing with human beings who are so far removed from the real world that they are not eating, they are eating, people. They are eating other things. They're not like you and I, and we have to survive against them. It's a very fascinating genre that I really love, and I thought the movie was very, very well done. I really did enjoy it quite a bit. And as far as Code Red is concerned here, I thought they did a really good job with this, guys. You get a few really interesting things here. You get a brand new 2017 HD scan with extensive color correction, and it does look really beautiful. They did a really great job with this. You also get an audio commentary here with Ian Jane and Horace Cordier. They're basically fans of the genre. They know a lot about the cannibal movie. They talk about this movie. They talk about, some of the anecdotes. They talk about its place in the horror movie cannibal lexicon. Very interesting audio commentary here. You also end up getting on-camera interviews with a couple of the stars, and very interesting because they're very candid. They talk about how difficult it was making this movie, difficulty with the nudity and the blood and the gore, and the idea of filming in New Guinea and filming in the jungle and dealing with all of the sort of reptiles and everything. Very fascinating stuff with them. Really like listening to their stuff here. You also get still gallery, original trailer, and you also get a bonus, which is the R-rated cut of the film, which does not have the animal violence in it, which is a little bit better for you guys. If you're not fans of the animal violence, this cuts that out as well, so it's good in that aspect too. So I did really enjoy that cut, but I'm more of the unrated guy. I like the unrated cut. I like the cannibal movie as it was presented, so for me the unrated cut is better, but for you guys, R-rated cut is in here as well. It's a really well done horror cannibal movie. It was one of the first ones, I believe, to come out and explore it. I really did enjoy it quite a bit. And of course, it came out before that big boom of all of the cannibal craze really was happening with Cannibal Holocaust and Eaten Alive and Cannibal Ferox. All of those movies. This was one of the first ones to come out, and I think it's a very fascinating movie. I really love the survival aspects to it. I enjoyed the movie overall. Really liked it a lot. Think you guys would too. Jungle Holocaust. Then the next title that I picked up is a Severin release, guys. A limited edition release of a slasher from the 90s, and that is Skinner right here, with the really great artwork with the cover here. And I also really like the inside here as well. Similar artwork as well, but pretty cool. I do like that artwork as well. And I believe this movie came out in 93, 94, around there. And I had never heard this movie before. So when Severin announced it, I was like, okay, this is really interesting. I definitely got to give this movie a chance. And this movie stars Ted Raimi, Ricky Lake, and Tracy Lords. And I was like, my God, I can't believe I've never heard of this type of movie. And it's a very sleazy, sort of straight to home video movie. And basically it's about Ted Raimi, who plays the lead character, who's a serial killer, and he likes to skin women and wear their skin. And he ends up taking up an apartment with Ricky Lake, and all the while still doing all these killings. And you also have Tracy Lords in here, who basically is a former victim of his who ended up surviving, and she's trying to hunt him and stalk him and try to kill him before he ends up attacking other women. It's a very, like I said, very interesting, dark movie that is a pretty interesting slasher. I really did enjoy it. And it's infamous for a couple things, because this movie is directed by Ivan Nagy. Now, he actually is the former boyfriend of Heidi Fleiss. Now, when the whole prostitution ring and everything happened with Heidi Fleiss, he ended up becoming very famous because of it, because of him actually being boyfriends with Heidi Fleiss and also helping her with the prostitution ring. And I think that also helped him get work in movies, because he was also a director as well, so he ended up getting other work like Skinner as well. So, you know, he became high profile because of that. He got work as a director because of stuff being Heidi Fleiss's boyfriend. They're like, hey, from the guy who was Heidi Fleiss's boyfriend, like, you know, he, you know, got famous for that and got movies made because of it. But it's not a bad, interesting slasher here, guys. I love the practical effects. I love the skinning. I love the over-the-top cheesy acting that you get from Tracy Lords or Ricky Lake. I think Ted Raimi is really effective as the bad guy. And you gotta admit that there's not many movies that actually have Ted Raimi as the bad guy. There's not many that do. And it's cool that he was featured as the bad guy. I really like that a lot. He's very effective, very creepy. I like the stalking. I like the killing. It's, as I said, it's a sleazy, cheesy sort of slasher from the 90s that I'm just surprised that I never heard of. But again, as I've told you guys before in previous Blu-ray pickup videos, that for me personally, you know, there's so many really wonderful and interesting gems from the 90s that are yet to be discovered, and Skinner is one of them. Really, really cool release here. I really enjoyed this one a lot. And again, man, I'm a fan of cheesy stuff that Ricky Lake has done, or Tracy Lords. I don't know. It warms my heart. What can I tell you? But Severin did a really great job with this release. There's no audio commentary here, but you get a lot of really, really great featurettes here. They talk with Ted Raimi, they talk with the director, they talk with one of the producers, they talk with the editor. They have a lot of really great stories and anecdotes talking about the movie, talking about the distribution of the movie, how the movie got made, some of the controversial aspects of the movie. I will be perfectly honest, I don't think this movie could be made today, guys. I'm not gonna lie. Like, I watched this movie, and certain things with the skinning of the women, there's even a scene with this black guy that gets skinned and sort of some racial stuff that happens in it. There are certain things that this movie just could not be made today. And you just realize that, and it just warms your heart knowing that at least it got made in a time when these movies could get made, and that there wasn't going to be a lot of controversy behind it. But it's a very fascinating movie with a very fascinating history behind it, and I really appreciated that. I appreciate this release. I pre-ordered it back in November during their Black Friday sale, and I didn't get it until January. It was supposed to ship in December, but I think they had complications and they had to wait until it got to January. I'm cool with it because, you know what, at least it ended up getting to my doorstep, and I'm really happy to own Skinner. A sort of unknown slasher from the 90s, but one that I definitely think you guys should check out. Definitely give it a chance if you haven't. Skinner. And the next pickup that I got, guys, is an Arrow video title, and a limited edition Arrow video title at that. A Guillermo del Toro film, and that is Crimson Peak right here, with the wonderful artwork that Arrow Video did, and a really wonderful sort of box art that they did as well, guys. It's very unique, very interesting here, very, very well done here, guys. I'll show you the whole box here. Very wonderful art on the outside and the inside here. Very, very cool art right there. And, you know, I love these sort of limited editions that they do. I don't pick up all limited editions that Arrow does, but sometimes there's certain ones that sort of pique my interest, and this was definitely one of them. you get a lot here. You get sort of the arrow insert that you always get here. You get the sort of almost like lobby cards with the characters on the front and the back side as well there. Very, very interesting right here, guys. I love these cards a lot. I'll show you a couple more here. Right there, here as well. You get that too. You get that as well. And you also end up getting a poster as well with the release. A mini poster that on one side has the theatrical art right there. And on the back side has another art also. Very cool. Very, very cool artwork as well. Well here, very, very nice. I love when they sort of go all out and do these type of releases. And on the inside as well, guys, you also get this really nice hardcover book for Crimson Peak. A very hardcover book here. And it comes with a lot of really great sort of pictures and articles talking about the making of Crimson Peak and everything. A very, very cool book here as well. Yeah, you get a lot for your money here, guys. I love these limited edition releases. Like I said, I don't pick all of them up, but when I do, I definitely appreciate the work that Arrow Video does. And as far as the movie itself, you know, I saw this in the movie theater with my mother. And we left the theater really enjoying the movie, especially my mom, who really loves a lot of those old school gothic horror films from back in the day, so this was right up her alley. And I was a little bit lukewarm at first. Now, I love Guillermo del Toro. Guillermo del Toro is one of my favorite directors of all time. And you know, when I saw the movie, I was not sure whether I really loved the movie or not. I knew I liked it. I didn't know whether I was in love with it or not. And what I found was that the more I watched the movie, the more I gained an appreciation for it. And I think that's a lot of Guillermo del Toro's work. I think this is one of his more underrated films. It's basically about this girl who ends up meeting this young, charming guy. He sweeps her off her feet, and after a family tragedy happens, they end up marrying. He ends up taking her to another country, to his home, where he's living with his sister, and all the while, sort of all these creepy things and all this weird aspect stuff is going on that is making the wife very uncomfortable, and she's not really sure what's going on. She soon finds out that there's much more weird and sinister things that are happening. I won't give too much away with the film. It's definitely a ghost story, but it's a very unique ghost story. I love the gothic aspect to it. I think the movie looks beautiful. I love the sets. I love the production design here. I think the acting is really well done here. I think Tom Hiddleston does a great job here. Very charming. You know, very likable, but yet, you know, when you get to the darker aspects of it, very unnerving. You're not sure what's going on with him. Very well done here. Charlie Hunnam is in the movie as well. I'm not a big fan of Charlie Hunnam. He's just okay, but this is my favorite role that he's done. I really like him in this movie as well here. There's so many really wonderful actors here. They all do a really great job here, man. I think everyone's playing it really well. They're playing it in the period. I really love the period piece aspect to it. I love the horror stuff to it. And you know what, man? Guillermo del Toro is honestly one of the best directors when it comes to horror. For some reason, man, he makes it haunting, he makes it beautiful, he makes it dark, he makes it disturbing. He really does a great job with it, and I love his film so much. I'm a huge fan of his work. I love all of his films except for one film. That is it. He is such a phenomenal director, and I feel like a lot of his work goes underappreciated and then really gets reevaluated over time. And I think Crimson Peak is one of those movies where I think you'll find that there's going to be more love for this as the years go on. It's not his best film, but I think it's one that I think definitely needs to be reevaluated. And this is a really great set. Arrow did an amazing job with this set, man. As you can see, the packaging is fantastic. Not only that, but they carry over all of the special features from the previous release. Whether it's the featurettes with all the actors, Guillermo del Toro, the production designer, visual effects, practical effects people, everybody talking about this movie. The old school audio commentary that Guillermo del Toro did as well. You also get new interviews with Guillermo del Toro and a few other individuals as well. You get theatrical trailers, image gallery, TV spots, and so much more. Very creepy movie. I love the ghosts in here. I love the design of the ghosts. I love the design of the mansion itself. There's so many wonderful things to appreciate about this movie, and I think over time, the more you watch it, the more you gain a better understanding and appreciation of the film. Again, not his best, but I think it's one that you guys should definitely reevaluate. If you haven't given it a chance yet, definitely do it. And definitely pick up this limited edition Arrow set. I don't know how long this will actually be available, but I definitely wanted to pick it up in a big bad way, and it came in pristine quality, man. It looks absolutely gorgeous, and I'm glad to have it in the collection now. Crimson Peak. Then the next title that I picked up is a Scream Factory release, and that is none other than 8mm right here. A movie that I really, really enjoy. And to be honest with you guys, I saw this when I was in my late teens on Cinemax. I think I saw it on Cinemax. And it was really dark, man. Really dark, really disturbing. And I didn't quite know what to make of the movie at the time. I was shocked by it, by the movie. I was shocked that, like, this kind of shit actually happens in real life. Like, there's really weird fuckers out there that really do this shit. And it just really disturbed the hell out of me. Basically, the movie is about a private investigator played by Nicolas Cage who gets hired by this old woman after her husband passes away. She ends up inheriting a lot of his things and his possessions, and there is this reel of film that she inherits that she makes him watch, Nicolas Cage, and it's this film that is considered a snuff film, where they are basically abusing this poor girl and basically killing her, and it's all on film, and it disturbs the hell out of him, but he believes that it's not real. It can't be real, because snuff films are not considered real. People do a lot of fake stuff, but they're not real. But she, the old woman, employs him because she wants to know whether this little girl is safe. Is she okay? What happened? Why was this film made? And so he goes on a journey to figure that out, and all of the dark and disturbing and underground people that he meets, and the things that he sees, and the stuff that affects him, and it's just very dark, it's very sleazy, and it's a movie that just stayed with me for years, man, because just the fact that this exists, the fact that there's an underground world of these people that exist and who do these kind of things and will be a part of this, it really just left me in like just a really, like, I couldn't believe that this stuff really happens, man. And it's just a really well told story. Nicolas Cage is really good here. He's not over the top Nicolas Cage, like, oh my god, the bees, oh, the bees. It's not that. It's more of an understated performance. Yeah, he gets a little crazy towards the end of the movie, but he's really good in it. A young Joaquin Phoenix, who does a really great job here as this sort of dude who knows people in the underground scene, who works at this porn shop. Really great performance by him. You get Peter Stormare here. You get a late, great James Gandolfini in this movie as well. He does a great job as this sort of porn promoter, producer guy. This movie just is very sleazy, man. It just feels sleazy watching it, but it's so well done. And the movie is directed by Joel Schumacher. Yes, Joel Schumacher himself, Batman and Robin, Joel Schumacher. I shouldn't hate on the guy, because he's done a lot of really great work. St. Elmo's Fire, Lost Boys, hell, I'll even give him Batman Forever, for Christ's sake. he did a great stuff. And so, I mean, he did a great job directing this movie as well. And Scream Factory did a great job with this release. You know, there's a lot of stuff. All the old school special features are ported over here. You have the TV spots, the still gallery, the trailers, the vintage making of featurette, the old school audio commentary with Joel Schumacher, and you get a new interview with Joel Schumacher, and he's very candid in this interview, man. He talks about how he wanted to make something much more adult, much more darker after making some of the Batman stuff, and how this was a script that everybody really loved, but the fact that nobody wanted to make it because of the subject matter, and how he took it on, and the fact that it wasn't a big budget, but he got to do what he wanted to. He employed people from the underground scene in this movie, so there are people who actually do that kind of stuff. They're in the film. He talks about working with Nicolas Cage and how he was a really great, influential actor on the movie. He's very candid talking about the film, and, you know, he's very proud of it. It's a really great interview from him. And honestly, you know, it's a film that I still love to this day. That time that I watched it on Cinemax, that one time it affected me, and I've watched it ever since, every so often. I used to have the DVD. This is an upgrade. And yeah, this is well worth it, guys. Very dark, disturbing for the subject matter, and the fact that this stuff really goes on in real life is shocking to me. I guess I shouldn't be shocked, because as human beings, we do really weird and fucked up things. But yeah, the fact that this really exists out there, man, just blows my mind. But it's such a well done movie. If you guys have not checked out 8mm, definitely do it. Well worth your time, guys. 8mm. Then the next film that I got is another Scream Factory title, a horror sci-fi flick, and that is Screamers right here. With the artwork here, the theatrical artwork, and on the flip side, they actually have other artwork as well here, also right here, there too. Yeah, the artwork right there as well. I actually prefer this artwork here, that's why I chose this one. But I will be honest with you guys, this is a horror sci-fi movie from 1995 that I never got a chance to see. I have never seen it before until I picked up the Blu-ray. Now, you know, there's a lot of stuff I've said in the 90s that passed me by and I missed out on. There's a lot of really wonderful gems from the 90s, and this is one of them. Basically, it's about, in the future, how these two warring factions are fighting each other, and how one of the factions ended up creating these robots to protect them and to fight for them called Screamers. And the idea that eventually they turned on them, they evolved, and now they're fighting them, and the other side is fighting them as well, and the other side doesn't trust them as well, and it's a whole back and forth. And the fact that the Screamers and the robots themselves are evolving, and they're trying new methods to kill people, and it's a very interesting and inventive horror film, starring Peter Weller of all people. But I really like the movie. It's very old school sci-fi. I like the design of the Screamers. I like the design of different aspects of the Screamers. I love how the evolution of them, whether they look like human beings or they're robots. Very fascinating, interesting stuff here. Peter Weller is really good in this movie. Very stoic, very badass. I really like him in the movie a lot. He does a great job in here. It's a little over the top. It's a little cheesy sci-fi stuff from 90s. Some of the special effects are a little dated because they use some visual effects, and of course by 95 special effects exactly weren't the greatest at that point. So you know, it's kind of a cheesy movie looking back on it now, but it's honestly a pretty good science fiction film. I actually really do enjoy it a lot. It's based off of a Philip K. Dick short story, I believe. Very interesting, fascinating science fiction horror stuff here. I like the gore here. I like the blood. I like the tearing of the limbs. I like sort of, you know, the head explosions. I like the action in here. I like the futuristic design of sort of the spaceships and the vehicles. I like, I'm a fan of science fiction, and for me, movies like this I absolutely really enjoy. And I was just shocked that I had never seen it before. I know a lot of people really love this movie, and I know a lot of people have really sort of considered this a cult classic. I can see it. I can see why this would be a cult classic. I can see why people would really enjoy it a lot. I absolutely really like this movie, man. I'm just shocked I hadn't seen it earlier, man. But I will tell you something. A lot of this old school science fiction stuff, there's not they're not made like this anymore. There's a certain amount of creativity and uniqueness to a movie like this that you just don't get anymore. And that's why I love these old school films, and that's why I love picking this stuff up, because it's just cool to watch it. Yeah, man, I had a ball watching this movie. It really is fun, really inventive, cool sci-fi horror film that you definitely should check out from the 90s. If you haven't yet, definitely pick it up. And Scream Factory did a really good job here, man. There are some really cool new interviews here. You get a new interview with director Christian Duguay, and he's very honest talking about the movie, his influences, working with Peter Weller. Very interesting interview here. You also get a interview with the producer, Tom Barry. He talks about getting this project off the ground, how he ended up getting the financing for it, the distribution of the film. Very interesting there. You also get an interview with co-writer Miguel Tejada Flores, and of course he talks about how this movie slightly differs from the short story, how he adapted it, what he thinks of the film, and you also get some other really great interviews here as well. Very great, fascinating, interesting sci-fi movie. I think you guys should definitely check out here. If you're a fan of Peter Weller, this is also definitely worth checking out as well. The 90s have some really cool gems, guys, and this is one of them. Definitely recommend Screamers. And the next pickup that I got, guys, is another Scream Factory release, and that is none other than Howling 3. Yes, I picked up Howling 3, guys, and, God, how do I talk about Howling 3? Well, let me just say this first off. There are certain series and franchises that, as they go on, they continue to get more fucking weird. They get more weird, you know what I mean, man? And just more out there and bizarre. And Howling is one of them. That's just been the nature of the Howling series. It just gets weirder and more fucked up every single installment. And we're at one of the more weird ones, Howling 3. And it's basically about a colony of marsupial-like werewolves who are living amongst the people of Australia, and they are trying to survive, and there are a group of people that are trying to hunt them down, and it's about them trying to survive, and also this woman falling in love with this human and having a child and protecting the child, and just them as a colony trying to survive amongst the humans. That's the best way to describe it. It is one weird and just odd movie, man. The Howling franchise has never been perfect. It's always been a little bit low budget. It's always been a little bit sort of out there at times. I mean, the first one, I really liked the first Howling. The second one, I really love the second one. It is cheesy as shit, and the werewolves end up looking like apes. But for some god-awful reason, I enjoy that movie. And here, they're looking like marsupials. They're looking like werewolf-like kangaroos. And you just fucking go with it, man. What the hell can I tell you? It's just the acting is cheesy and over the top, ridiculous. The premise is just over the top, ridiculous. The practical effects with the werewolves are just really cheesy. There's a whole birthing scene with a mother who's giving birth to this little baby marsupial, which is really just weird and fucked up, man. I remember watching this movie back in the day and just thinking to myself, this movie is one weird as shit film. But for some reason, I'm incredibly fascinated by it, and I can't stop watching it. And I just love this movie. It's one of those movies where not everyone's gonna love it, and some people are gonna wonder, why the fuck is this even in my collection? But for some reason, I love the B-movie cheesiness of these Howling films. And the weirder and more bizarre they got, for some reason, I have just ended up loving them even more. And this is one of the ones that I really do love and cherish. And yeah, I was so happy when Scream Factory announced this, man, because I'm like, they released the first one, they released the second one, and now they release Howling 3, and I'm like, yes, yes. I had to pick it up. It was a no-brainer, man. As cheesy and ridiculous as it really is, it sort of has a special place in my heart, guys. It really honestly does. Very well done here. And Scream Factory did give it a little bit of love that it does deserve. You get a new 4K scan of the original film elements here, and the film actually does look pretty good, honestly. You get a new audio commentary with writer-director Philip Mora, and it's a very interesting audio commentary. He does talk about the making of the film, making it in Australia, what he wanted to accomplish with the film, the low-budget aspect, why he picked the marsupial kind of concept. Very interesting audio commentary. You get also a new interview with Philippe Mora, and this is a really interesting audio commentary interview where he's very candid, man. He talks about how he kind of got fucked over in Howling 2 and how they screwed him over with the practical effects, but the movie made so much money that he just went into an office and said, hey, the last movie made this, I want to make the movie for this, and they just instantly gave him the money, man. And he just talks about that. He talks about dealing with the actors, and it's a very fascinating interview. He's very candid. He's very honest. He does not give a shit, and it really shows. It's a great interview. You also get vintage interviews from the director as well, plus a couple other people from this documentary from 2008. Very interesting there as well. And you get a theatrical trailer. Not bad special features, and not bad for Howling 3. I kind of am hoping, cross fingers, that we get more Howling films on Blu-ray from Scream Factory. I'm kind of hoping that they'll release more. I'm not saying this is the best franchise ever. It's kind of actually kind of cheesy and really weird and bizarre, and sometimes this franchise really doesn't make any kind of fucking sense. But I really love it, and the fact that I now have Howling 3 in the collection is a bucket list for me. So I'm happy to have it, guys. Cheesy as shit as it may be, it's one that I'm happy to have in the collection. I love it. Howling 3. Then the next title I picked up is another Scream Factory title. Yes, I was picking up quite a bit of Scream Factory in the month of January, but this one was one that I had never seen before, but, it was about time, and that is 10 to Midnight. Right here, guys, 10 to Midnight, with this really art cover right here, the collector's edition right here. Very cool art here, and on the inside here, you get the theatrical art right here. Very cool art for 10 to Midnight, man. I really do like that art a lot. And this is a movie that, again, it passed me by, guys. This movie passed me by in a really interesting, because I am somewhat of a Charles Bronson fan. I'm not a huge Charles Bronson fan. I like some of the Death Wish stuff, but I don't go out of my way to watch a lot of Charles Bronson stuff. But when this was announced at Comic-Con last year, it was one of the ones that really hit me like a hammer. Everyone was like, it's a weird mix of like a Bronson action film and a sort of sleazy horror film. And I was like, wow, that's a really interesting combination. I kind of got to check this out. And so this was a complete blind buy, but I had a lot of fun watching this movie. It is a really interesting movie about basically this cop played by Charles Bronson who is trying to find this killer of women, and basically this guy who is killing the women, he is just one weird and psychotic guy. He just, the way he does stuff, he strips down completely naked and then goes and kills people with a knife. And Charles Bronson is on his trail, and you know he's trying to catch him, and he's trying to be a dirty cop, trying to plant evidence on him, and sort of the back and forth cat and mouse game between them. Very good, very kick-ass film. I really love this one a lot. And I didn't know what exactly I was expecting going into the film, whether it was going to be sort of, you know, just a cheesy action film, or whether it was going to be a horror film, or whether it was going to be a mix of it. I didn't know. But man, I thought it was a really great element of both the action and the horror here. I really liked the slasher stuff here with the killer. I thought it was really effective with him almost having like multiple personalities almost. Very, very fascinating stuff with him. Really great as far as the acting is concerned. The guy who's playing the serial killer does a really great job here. Charles Bronson, really grizzled cop kind of performance there. Does a great job here as well. I mean, you have other people in here as well, which is really interesting. I mean, fuck, you have Wilford Brimley in here. And for some reason, man, Wilford Brimley looks the same as he did, like, doing those diabetes commercials. Like the guy never fucking ages. But he's in here as well. A lot of really great actors are in here. It's really well directed here, I believe, by J. Lee Thompson, who directed, I believe, a couple of Planet of the Apes films. And he actually did a really great job directing this film as well. It's a really great, solid action horror film from back in the day, which, again, completely passed me by. It just is one that, when you think of Charles Bronson, you don't think of 10 to Midnight. You think of Death Wish. Or you know, something like that. You just, this 10 to Midnight is farthest from your thought when you think of Charles Bronson, but I really enjoyed it, man. I thought it was a really fantastic movie. And I was really thankful that Scream Factory put this out, because I would have never heard about it otherwise. Yeah, this is really, really well done. I really love it. I think the ending is really well done. Very shocking what happens at the ending. Very cool. That guy deserved what he got. I'll put it that way. But yeah, very shocking ending to it. But overall, man, you know what? This is sort of, I don't want to say it's a lost gem, but it's one that I think people kind of forgot about, and it definitely needs to be seen again. I really enjoyed the hell out of it. And again, Scream Factory really gave it the love it deserved, man. You get a new 4K scan of the original camera negative. You get new interviews with actors Andrew Stevens, Robert F. Lyons, and Jeannie Tomasina, as well as from producer Lance Houle. They all have really great interviews, man. They talk about working with Bronson. They talk about the movie itself, what their thoughts are, how they got into the movie business. You know, their thoughts about the film years later, their careers, and how this film affected it. Very fantastic interviews, man, and they all have very interesting stories about Bronson, too. Especially Andrew Stevens, who has a really great story about Charles Bronson and working with him, and how they became friends. Really fantastic interviews, guys. Really love that stuff. You'll get a new commentary by author Paul Talbot, and he is sort of a biographer of Charles Bronson, talks about the movie. It's a little bit of a dry commentary. It's a little bit flat, but I really did enjoy it, though. I really did like the commentary overall. I thought it was very well done. You get an old school commentary with one of the producers, the casting director, and film historian. That's a much better commentary. It's a little bit more livelier. I did like that one, too. You also get theatrical trailer, radio spots, and still gallery. Really fascinating movie, guys. If you're a fan of Charles Bronson, if you're a fan of these sort of hybrids of action horror, it's actually pretty good. It's a pretty good slasher. It's a pretty good one of an action sort of stalking and killing movie. Guys, give it a chance. I think you guys would really enjoy it. Yeah, man, I had a ball watching the movie. I really loved it a lot. And the fact that this is my first Charles Bronson movie ever in the collection. I don't own any other Charles Bronson movies. This is the first one. It may blow your mind, but again, it's nice to have little Charles Bronson in the collection finally. Well worth it. 10 to midnight. Then, last but certainly not least, was a blind buy. I was not expecting to pick this up, but I showed it in one of the Out and About videos that I did for January, and I had to pick it up, man. I was surprised it was even at Best Buy, and that is Ghoulies, and Ghoulies 2 from Scream Factory here, the double feature, and oh my god, man, I had not watched these movies in years, and when I say years, I mean long ass time since I watched these movies, man. I had a ball watching these two films, man. Rewatching them was a fucking blast, dude. This is classic Empire Pictures, Charles Band. It's basically, I mean, the first film is about how this young guy inherits this house, and he ends up finding some of this stuff that his dad used to own and do, this sort of sorcery magic stuff, and he gets into it, and he conjures up the ghoulies, and he ends up like bringing back this evil sorcerer that wants to rule the world, and very weird, bizarre 80s movie that somehow works. It's cheesy as shit, but it works. And the second one brings the ghoulies back, and they're terrorizing a carnival / amusement park, and that's just all kinds of B-movie fun. And the whole franchise, man, is just really one big fun romp. It really is, man. I can't describe it much more than that. It's 80s. It's B-movie cheese, but it's some of the best fucking B-movie cheese, guys. The design of the ghoulies themselves is really cool. I love the design of them. I thought they're all really unique and really different from each other. I love the special effects with all of the like 80s over-the-top special effects stuff. I just love the stop motion and animation that we get in Ghoulies 2. I love sort of the cheesy acting that we get out of all of the actors here. It's just goddamn fun, man. It really is a fun movie, and it's a fun movies, I should say. Which one do I prefer? If push came to shove, I would probably say Ghoulies 2. It's probably the one I prefer more than the first one. But I will say this much, though. The first Ghoulies, though, I think is vastly underrated. I think it's a much better film than people might give it credit for. I love the design of it. I love all of the friends in the film. I think everybody's very likable and charming. Like I said, I like the designs, the uniqueness, the kills, the practical effects. I love all that stuff, especially in Ghoulies too, man. All of the practical effects and the kills and all the amusement park stuff is really cool. You know, these are really two forgotten gems. You know, as I said with the Howling series, it's a series that gets weirder, and in some ways, I think a lot of that series, not many people want to revisit because maybe it's too cheesy or it's not as modern. I feel Ghoulies is even more in that category. Like, people don't really give these sort of old school B-movies a chance anymore. And I would really say open your mind, give these movies a chance. I think you'd have a lot of fun watching these movies, man. Especially Ghoulies too, which is just balls to the wall, fun, cheese, 80s ridiculousness, but my god, man, I fucking love it. And again, it's just a really well-made series of films. And again, like I said, I love Empire Pictures, I love Charles Band, and again, this sort of was the beginning of the whole like little creatures thing that Charles Band loves to do. And yeah, man, I had a ball watching it. I really did. It was just super, super fun, man. And again, a blind buy. I wasn't expecting to pick it up, but when it was at Best Buy, I'm like, this is the last copy, and if I don't pick it up, somebody else will, and I'm going to regret it. So you know what? I am glad I picked this sucker up. And Scream Factory did give it the love it deserves, guys. You get on Ghoulies here, you get an audio commentary with the director-writer, and he has actually really engaging in the commentary, talking about Charles Band, the Empire Pictures days, what they wanted to accomplish with Ghoulies, the actors, everything. Very interesting audio commentary. You also get new interviews with Charles Band, the composer Richard Band, a couple of the actors, special makeup artist John Vulich. They love talking about this movie, man. And the actors, dude, the actor who played the evil sorcerer, he is honest as shit. He's like, dude, this is not Shakespeare. This is terrible. And dude, it's a B movie shitfest, but he loves being in it. And Charles Band has some great stories as well. Great stuff on Ghoulies. On Ghoulies 2, you have new interviews with executive producer Charles Band. A couple of the actors, special effects artists, and you have deleted scenes and theatrical trailer. The interviews are absolutely awesome here. I love the interviews so goddamn much here. Again, the actors talk about how working with the carnival and the amusement park. Charles Band talks about doing the sequel and what they wanted to accomplish. They talked about reinventing the Ghoulies and the 80s and everything. Man, the interviews here are really candid and really awesome, and I just fucking love everything everybody has to say here. I love when people are really honest in interviews, and on the Ghoulies discs here, it is absolutely honesty to the max. Love it so much, dude. This is a great slice of 80s B-movie cheese at its peak perfection, and I really do love it a lot. I hope Scream Factory puts out Ghoulies 3 and Ghoulies 4. I would definitely watch those, man. I know that Ghoulies 3 and 4 are high in demand. People really want them. I want them as well. So, Scream Factory, if you're listening, bring us Ghoulies 3 and 4 on a double feature. I will buy the shit out of that. Trust me. And hope you guys enjoy some good B-movie cheese. It's definitely well worth it. Ghoulies and Ghoulies 2. Alright everybody, that'll do it for the Blu-ray pickup video for January of 2019. And you know, even though it's a smaller stack, I definitely enjoyed everything that I picked up for the month, guys. I really liked a lot of the limited editions and the collector's editions and some of the surprises. It was well worth it for the month of January, guys. Very, very good haul here. Definitely let me know what you guys picked up for January. There was a lot of really great releases in January, and even though I didn't pick up some of those releases, they are definitely well worth to get. So let me know what you guys picked up. And now heading into February, man, there's some really cool titles that are coming out. A lot of really great independent releases from a lot of the independent studios. Scream Factory, Vinegar Syndrome, Severin, Code Red. A lot of really great stuff coming out. On top of some really great theatrical releases finally getting the physical media love, man. There's some stuff I'm definitely anticipating. So there's a lot of really great pickups that I know I'm going to get, guys. And, you know, just interesting thinking about it, is 2019 going to be as good of a physical media year as 2018? Ooh, that's kind of tough. You know, I really love 2018. I thought there was a lot of really wonderful releases in 2018 as far as physical media is concerned. Can it top it? It's possible. I mean, you know, I think we're going to get a lot of really great stuff this year, guys. I think there's going to be a lot of really cool limited editions, collector's editions, some really great stuff that's coming on physical media, some surprises. I think we're going to get some really great releases this year. I think there's going to be a lot of love for physical media this year, especially going towards the fact that a lot of these digital streaming stuff people are iffy on. I think physical media is definitely in the mindset of a lot of people. So I think there's going to be a lot of really great surprises and a lot of really great love for physical media, which I can't wait because I'm a physical media guy. So for me, it's all about the love for that. But, you know, definitely, if you like the video, definitely give it a thumbs up. Let me know what you guys think of upcoming releases for 2019 and what you're looking forward to. And if you're new to the channel, welcome. Check out the other Blu-ray and DVD out and about videos I do every single Tuesday. Check out the other Blu-ray pickup videos I do every month. Check out the theatrical movie reviews I do with my friends all the time, every single week. We have a really fun time, and I love talking about movies. Whether I'm talking about physical media or whether I'm doing a movie review, I have a passion and a love for it, and I have a passion and a love for my subscribers. They are some of the best subscribers. I love them so goddamn much. I love the comments, I love the support, I love the movie suggestions. I look forward to interacting with you guys in the comment section every single week, so it's a pleasure. And so if you love movies and physical media, and if you love what I do on the channel, then hit subscribe and become part of the Film Fan Nation. And keep up to date with all that I'm doing on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram, FilmFan108. Keep up to date with all the videos I'm posting, plus special pictures and videos that I do from time to time for social media as well. Alright guys, I will see you back next month to show off all of the goodies that I picked up in my next Blu-ray pickups video. Take care guys, and happy hunting.